The prisoner secretly hides in the body bag and is subsequently thrown into the sea by the guards. Mistaken for a corpse, Edmund escapes death, experiencing a rebirth, and is about to embark on a path of revenge. After swimming all night, Edmund is exhausted. He escapes to a farmer's house and finds some old clothes to replace his humiliating prison uniform. For the first time in 15 years, he looks in a mirror, feeling disoriented and unfamiliar with his disheveled, weathered face. He flees like a startled bird before the farmer's return. Disguised and using an alias, he urgently wants to return home to see his father. However, fate deals him another heavy blow. He learns his father died 5 years ago and is buried in a nearby church. Edmund is devastated, barely able to stand. Led by the priest, he visits his father's grave, learning that his father died of depression in 1825. Edmund's eyes blur with tears. Next to it is a tombstone with his own name, stating he died 10 years before his father. Edmund is filled with confusion and anger, knowing he's been alive in prison all this time, wondering why everyone outside thinks he's dead, suspecting some conspiracy. With a heart full of pain and resentment, Edmund goes to his fiancée Mercedes' home. He's greeted with heartbreaking news. Mercedes has long since married and moved to Paris. This news pierces his heart like a blade. Sweet memories of Mercedes flood his mind, only to be instantly shattered by cruel reality. Edmund wanders the streets, dazed and lifeless. Suddenly, a group of guards approaches, and he instinctively feels fear. Hurriedly hiding in a corner, a prisoner being escorted suddenly breaks free and runs. He's quickly caught by a guard and beaten severely. This reminds Edmund of his own past experiences, prompting him to intervene and knock down the guard. He doesn't yet know that this act of kindness will change both their fates. The prisoner, named Jacopo, is overwhelmingly grateful to Edmund and decides to follow him loyally. During their escape, they encounter more guards and hide in a carriage. Successfully leaving the city, Jacopo reveals he was arrested for smuggling and that his ship is currently at sea, but he can't sail it. Edmund becomes excited, as he was once an excellent captain and first mate. He has Jacopo take him to the smuggling ship. Edmund lies about an approaching storm, saying he needs to sail the ship to the Isle of Monte Cristo to avoid it. In reality, he plans to find the treasure Abbe Faria told him about before seeking revenge. Edmund says he's going up the mountain to catch a goat for food, telling Jacopo to wait below. Following Faria's treasure map, he searches almost the entire Monte Cristo but finds no trace of treasure.
Tell me!
Feeling utterly disappointed, he reluctantly leaves at Jacopo's persistent urging. Back on the ship, Edmund looks back at Monte Cristo regretfully. Suddenly, he notices 2 stone pillars on the mountain resembling rabbit ears, exactly the rabbit rock Faria mentioned. Edmund is internally excited but suppresses his joy to avoid arousing Jacopo's suspicions, planning to return for the treasure later. Soon after, Edmund and Jacopo return to Jacopo's home, where Edmund is warmly welcomed by Jacopo's family. Seeing this warm, harmonious scene, Edmund's heart grows heavy, realizing he should have had such a happy family too. That night, he tosses and turns, his mind filled with thoughts of revenge and the Monte Cristo treasure. He secretly takes Jacopo's small sailboat, embarking once again on his treasure hunt. By dawn, Edmund lands on Monte Cristo. Searching carefully around Rabbit Rock, he discovers a cave entrance hidden by stones. Passing through a narrow, low passage, he enters the cave's depths to find the treasure untouched for 300 years. This wealth is more than he could spend in several lifetimes. Edmund weeps with joy, grateful for the Abbe's gift and thanking heaven for this turn of fate. Before seeking revenge, Edmund decides to repay those who have helped him. Soon, Jacopo receives a letter from Edmund. Not only has Edmund bought him 2 large ships, but he's also gifted him 3 properties. He invites Jacopo to meet him at the end of the month and help him with a task. Edmund dresses as a nobleman, transforming from the fugitive Edmund into the Count of Monte Cristo. He visits Morel Shipping Company, learning that his former employer Maximilian, who had treated him kindly, is deeply in debt and the company is on the brink of bankruptcy. Moreover, the Pharaon, the flagship Edmund once captained, has sunk. Edmund feels sorrow and regret. At the appointed time, Jacopo arrives dressed as a gentleman. The distinguished Count of Monte Cristo before him is almost unrecognizable from the former destitute fugitive, leaving Jacopo curious about the source of Edmund's wealth. Edmund casually mentions inheriting a fortune. He then seriously recounts his 15-year wrongful imprisonment to Jacopo, swearing him to secrecy. Edmund asks Jacopo to help him uncover the truth, intending to punish all those who framed him. Jacopo learns from the police station that Villefort, who ordered Edmond's arrest, has been promoted to royal prosecutor in Paris. As Jacopo is illiterate, Edmond risks personally investigating the records. Posing as a Paris newspaper editor, he attempts to access his own file. The records keeper initially refuses but changes his attitude when Edmond mentions Villefort sent him, eager to associate with a royal prosecutor. In his file, Edmond finds the anonymous letter that slandered him, written on paper from Catullus' tavern. Puzzled why Catullus, with whom he had a good relationship, would be involved, Edmond and Jacopo confront Catullus at an inn. Only when Edmond reveals his identity does Catullus recognize him. Attempting to flee, he's blocked by the armed Jacopo. Under Edmond's interrogation, Catullus confesses that Danglars and Fernand wrote the letter to frame Edmond, leaving Edmond furious.
So, you saw them write it and did nothing to stop them. You did nothing to stop an innocent man being arrested on a falsehood. A young man who almost withered to death in the dungeons of the Castle d'If for 15 long years!
Catullus pleads that he was coerced and had been caring for Edmond's father after Edmond's imprisonment. Faced with his desperate pleas, Edmond ultimately spares his life. Still puzzled, Edmond understands Danglars' resentment for being replaced as captain but wonders why Fernand betrayed him. Catullus reveals that Fernand married Mercedes, finally enlightening Edmond. Fernand had long coveted his fiancée. Edmond's heart aches, fueling his desire for revenge even more. After composing himself, he offers Catullus a chance for redemption by assisting in his revenge. Now, Danglars has become a banker, Fernand has entered politics and gained a title, and Villefort is a respected royal prosecutor. Punishing them will require thorough preparation and planning. Edmond pays Catullus 5,000 francs monthly to gather information on these three in Paris, leaving Catullus overwhelmed with gratitude. He also informs Edmond that the tombstone in the church was erected by Mercedes, as Villefort had told her Edmond committed suicide in prison, further intensifying Edmond's hatred for Villefort. Jacopo delivers a large sum of money to a farm household, Edmond's compensation for the clothes he once stole there. The farm woman is overjoyed, having never seen so much money in her life. Meanwhile, Maximilian, overwhelmed by enormous debt, despairingly prepares to take his own life with a gun. Suddenly, his daughter bursts in, saying a man entrusted her with a money bag for Maximilian. It contains all of Maximilian's debt notes, paid off by someone, along with a large diamond and a note explaining it's to help rebuild the pharaoh. Maximilian recognizes the money bag as the one he gave Edmond at his engagement. His past kindness to Edmond is now repaid. Edmond's generosity is also motivated by learning from the records keeper that Maximilian had repeatedly requested to view Edmond's file, firmly believing in his innocence. Having repaid all kindnesses, Edmond now begins planning his revenge. Jacopo questions why he doesn't simply kill his enemies, but Edmond explains that would be too easy for them.
No, Jacopo. The vengeance I will deliver will equal the crime.